Hello everybody, my name is the Teen Missionary, also known as MV, and today I am going to talk about the subject of abortion with you guys. So the reason I have felt I would cover this topic today is because 2 days ago, the March for Pro-Life happened in Washington, D.C., and somebody I know went there, and I saw a bunch on Instagram was buzzing about it. I saw a bunch of signs, and I just thought I'd give my perspective on it to, what better way to do that than my YouTube channel where everybody can hear my perspective. So to start it off, what is abortion exactly? Abortion is the deliberate termination of a human pregnancy, most often performed during the first 28 weeks of pregnancy. So that is the human definition of abortion. Now, for anybody who is or isn't a Christian, you probably know that the churches plural, do not have the best view on abortion, and I thought I'd also go into why I could see that is, and also personally why I see abortion as wrong as well. Okay, so to start it off, let's dwell into Genesis. Genesis chapter 38, lines 8 through 10. Judah got a wife named Tamar for his firstborn, but Judah's firstborn, greatly offended the Lord, so the Lord took his life. Then Judah said to Onan, "Unite with your brother's widow, in fulfillment of your duty as brother-in-law, and let's preserve your brother's line." Onan, however, knew that the descendants would not be counted as his, so whether he had relations with his brother's widow, he wasted his seed on the ground to avoid contributing offspring to his brother. What he did greatly offended the Lord, and the Lord took his life too. So, when they say spill the seed, for anybody who's still confused, that he basically spilled his semen on the ground when he ejaculated, so that he would not fertilize his brother's widow. So that greatly offended the Lord, because as one of the greatest things we can do in this world is make life. We as human beings have the literal ability to create life. And so it's a gift. It's a literal gift. So when you throw that away, because in his case he knew the descendants wouldn't be counted as his, when you throw that away, that's throwing away the greatest gift we've been given. And it's taking that for granted, and that's because we were meant for that. We were meant to create life. And that's also why contraceptives are wrong, like birth pills and condoms, is because it's hindering the creation of life. Nowadays, when I get onto the subject of this with some people, I don't like openly talk about it, but when I get onto it, people see sex as more of a pleasure now, and as less of an action to extend the family tree, or to bring people into the world, to create life. And they are right, it is a pleasure, but the ability to create life came way before people started enjoying it as a pleasure. I remember in my journal, I wrote some observations on miracles, and I'll discuss that in a separate video. But my number three miracle was a coincidental miracle. They're miracles that seem like coincidences. They're odd coincidences. And if you look at it with the right mind, if you think about it with the right mind, and you look at it with the right pair of eyes, and you listen to it with the right ears, you will see it. You will understand that there's more to it than meets the eye. And if you think about it, like I said, you need to be open to think about it. How does it happen that sex, the ability to create life, the literal ability to create life, and us going to our partner in the most vulnerable form as a human we can be, how does it happen that that's also life's greatest pleasure? Or I guess the other way around. How does it happen that life's greatest pleasure is also life's greatest ability? It's oddly enough, it's a coincidence, and if you think about it, that is kind of miraculous. The greatest pleasure being our greatest ability, which is why it, creating life came first. Pleasure was after, but pleasure was an additional thing to furthermore enjoy our greatest ability to create life. So when people say nowadays sex is for pleasure, not to create life, like when people talk about it, they treat pleasure and creating life like two separate different things. It's a package deal. It's a package deal. Taking a package deal out of the greatest pleasure and the greatest power of our life, that's stupid. And anybody who would see it that way would know, yeah, that is stupid. I'm gonna get off the topic of sex, although it's kind of, again, it's stupid that people see it as a pleasure and they treat pleasure and our greatest abilities two separate different things when they're a package deal. That's how we're made. But anyway, so abortion is after an egg has been fertilized in the body and somebody doesn't want that egg, they decide I'm going to get an abortion, and they basically just kills the egg. So why is that wrong? Why is killing that tiny, tiny, tiny cell, why is that wrong? What harm will that do? Well, let's think about it for a sec. Again, it's the greatest gift you've been given, and you're throwing that away. Second, it's the potential for life. Miracles? Yeah, no, not miracles. The sperm fertilizing an egg, that's not an everyday thing. That's not something just can happen. If we have sex, we're obviously going to have a pregnant baby if the sperm gets in. That doesn't happen every time. The chances are slim. If you look at it from a biological perspective, the chances are so slim, it's a miracle. It's number one miracle. I call that a common miracle. It's miracles that happen not daily, but they happen around us quite frequent and infrequently, and we don't see it. We just view it as, oh, yeah, it's biological, but it's also the chance of a sperm reaching an egg and fertilizing, that's rare. Yes, I'm going to say it, that is a rare thing for that to happen. So you're taking a rare chance, and by the way, that chance also so happens to be the potential for life. The potential for life. A human being could be in that little egg. A human being could develop in that egg. And anybody who wants an abortion is saying, I want to throw away the hard-worked, rare chance of the potential to have a human being. I want to throw that away. And you know what? That's really sad. That's really sad that people are saying, I want to throw it away. Sorry. People are saying, I want to throw it away because I don't want to, I'm not ready. You're telling me you want to, so it shows how much we take birth and sex and fertilization and pregnancy. It shows how much we as humans all take that for granted. Now, I'm not condemning anybody. I would not condemn anybody if somebody told me they had an abortion. I'd be like, that wasn't a good idea, but I'm not going to condemn somebody for that because that's not right. Who am I to judge? Aren't I a sinner too? Who am I to judge? But, so yeah, basically, you're throwing away the rarity. That's the chance part in it. That's where chance comes in, is you're throwing away something, the chance. The other part is, we as Catholics believe in life the moment that sperm reaches the egg. The moment the sperm reaches the egg, God puts a soul in that. That's what we believe, and that's why we believe when you are cutting that away, you are literally killing. That's literally murder. And that's why we view that as wrong. And I was also thinking about this from trying to find a non-religious feeling perspective. We only get one life. And especially if you don't believe in an afterlife, you believe death is just the end. If you believe in that, good for you. If we only have one life, why is there a need to hinder someone else from having that life because you're not ready to bring that child into the world? That's just a question. Why? And again, that's taking our greatest ability for granted, especially if you don't believe in afterlife. If you don't believe there's a life after this, and we're all going to be reunited, and as Christians, we're all going to have new bodies during the resurrection and stuff. If you don't believe in any of that, you're taking what everybody would consider our greatest power. You're taking that for granted. That's where I can view that as a non-religious, secular, worldly part, is that you're taking something, our greatest ability as humans, you're taking that for granted. And actually, I was thinking about this last night. As I was going over this, texting some of my friends about this, because I asked them because they had posted statements about it. I came up with this. Suddenly it just hit me. It literally hit me. Okay. I'm going to ask you all a question. You don't have to answer. Just answer in your mind, because you know what? Nobody's going to talk me through this. If you were a fetus, if you were that fetus, and you had a say in whether or not your parents should abort you, would you do it? Would you say, sure, abort me? Or would you also take into consideration, I'm here, I like my life, don't abort me? Okay, and that's where the hypocrisy comes in, is you need to walk in, as the great character Atticus Finch said, you need to walk in somebody else's skin for a day to be around. If the fetus is a helpless, or as somebody said, a quote-unquote cluster of cells, if it is a helpless, developing form of life that is not able to survive on its own, and doesn't even able to communicate or have a say in what the parents do, whether or not you decide to smoke while you're pregnant or drink or whatever, why do you need to feel the need to make a decision for a child that can't speak for itself? Why do you feel the need to take away something that can't even defend itself, but is going to be able to defend itself if you give it a chance? This isn't like shooting a dying deer because the deer is close to death. I've actually seen one of those before. This is something that's weak, is going to get better on its own, provided you don't do anything to it, but cannot communicate. Why do you feel the need to end something like that? It's the most vulnerable form of life. Why? That's literally like picking on somebody who's not your own size. Why? It's so helpless. Again, with the hypocrisy, we've all, and this leads on to dignity too, we've all been fetus. We all were fetuses once. So the fact that we, as dignified human beings who have a life right now, the fact that we can say, the fact that people who support abortion say, I support abortion because whatever reason, you were a fetus too once, so you should know that by saying I support abortion, that's saying I have more dignity because I was lucky enough to come into this world. I have more dignity than this little fetus who's about to be aborted. I have my life has more value than that fetus that can't even defend itself. It's hypocrisy. So anybody who supports abortion, I'm not condemning you, but I hope you think about this and realize that it's hypocrisy. You are being a hypocrite by saying I support abortion, because you were also a fetus once. And you saying you have more dignity than this, it's hypocrisy. And it's pride. When you think your life has more value and you think you have more dignity than somebody, that's called pride, and pride is the poison of the mind. Now, on top of this, I know there are many situations where the woman carrying the child could die and is sick, and the cure could kill the child, and if she dies, they could still save the child. Those are one of those gray areas that I cannot answer because I do not have a full opinion on it. There's no easy answer for that one. So if you're a woman and you've had to abort a child because your life, or you were in harm, your life was in danger, or you were in harm's way, there's no easy answer. I kind of wish it didn't come to that, but your life, you still have value to your life, and that might be contradictory to what I just said, where somebody's like, but you're also the one carrying the child, and you're also, so I can understand it there. One more thing before I sign off. One sign that really touched me was adoption, not abortion. I understand there are also some risks with pregnancy, but if you are with child, I'd say it is your moral obligation. If you don't want the child, or you can't care for the child, that's fine. It's your moral obligation to at least bring this child into the world and give it up for adoption so it can have a better life. Like I said, I'm not condemning anybody. And I know I got really passionate back there, but adoption, not abortion. Let's use less extreme ways to show that we still love each other in no form of life. And when I say I'm pro-life as well, I don't just mean the fetus. I mean all forms of life. So I hope anybody who's a parent, if their child ever asks about this, they should possibly show them this video, because as a young person, again, I'm mature, but I still have the open-mindedness of a child. But yeah, that was my talk on abortion. My name is the Teen Missionary, aka MV. Subscribe to my channel if you're interested in this in more content. Like the video if you like it. Comment on what you want to see on my channel. MV out. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.